Alright, anyway, chat. Let's get into this quick educational stream. Time to study. I think you guys do remember I had a short stream about March 1st, Korean Independence Movement Day. But not only March 1st, today, August 15, is also really meaningful day in Korea. Today is National Liberation Day in Korea. What is National Liberation Day in Korea? So today is actually 77th year Korea got liberated from Japan. It's actually very recent. So last time we talked about Independence Movement Day, and today is Liberation Day, which is August 15 in 1945. So that was the day Korea was liberated from Japan. Korea was like colonized by Japan for quite a long time. So in Korea, we kind of call it Victory over Japan Day. What does that mean? Does that mean we won Japan? No. So basically, Korea didn't have their own culture because we were colonized by Japan. So we call it Victory over, Japan Day, where we had to follow Japan. Korea was colonized for 35 years. So basically longer than my life right now. So if I was born in 1910, my whole life would be still colonized by Japan. Actually, a little sad if you think about it. And in Korea, we call it 광복절. 광 means light. 복 means restore. 절 means holiday. So it means we finally restored our country, our nation. Really interesting thing is, a lot of people ask, why don't you call it Independence Day? Why do you call it Liberation Day? So we would like, you guys, English speaker, to call this day as Liberation Day instead of Independence Day, because like before we got colonized by Japan, Korea has more history. Long history. And if we call it Independence Day, it feels like we are not counting our long history, big Korean nation that we used to have a long time ago. So Korea would love to be called today Liberation Day instead of Independence Day. If you think about it, it's quite recent. So basically, my grandparents experienced this. My grandparents experienced the domination by Japan, and they also experienced the energy and the power and the vibe that you get by liberating from Japan. A lot of things happened during that day. So basically, what happened was we could not speak Korean. We had to speak, I think, Japanese. We could not have Korean name. We had to have like Japanese name. The reason why Japan did this is in order to delete Korean culture. In order for one country and nation to maintain their power, culture is a very important aspect. So basically, guys, no K-pop. Imagine there's no K-pop, no K-drama, no K-culture. Yeah, no Africa BJs. Yeah. And also, if you refuse to use Japanese culture, like for example, Japanese name or Japanese language, they refuse you to go to school. They will be like, oh, no education and no food. You had to kind of accept the Japanese culture. And also you had to go to like really dangerous area, like Minecraft? What is it, like a crafting area, like a cave? Like they had to go to factory, like mine for making the weapon for Japanese army. They were forced to get involved in a war. So basically, there was no identity for Korean. So that's why, I think I talked about it last time, there was a lot of protesters, a lot of activists that, actively shouted for independence of Korea. So that's why they got tortured and, they got hurt. Sometimes they would get, killed. After August 15, finally Korea gets to have their own identity, own culture. And at the end, after 77 years, we have K-pop and K-drama. The K-culture is evolving, So that's why we call 광복절, we call this Liberation Day as we finally restored our light, restored our culture, we restored our country. Usually on August 15th, we put the Korean flag in front of the window or the door. It's really important that you have to put the flag very at the end of the pole, if you walk outside of the street, you will see a lot of flags. But the really sad thing is, I used to do this when I was young. Like, mom would be like, oh, let's put up the flag. But nowadays, we don't really see a lot of flags on the street. It's kind of sad. I always want to talk about this because we kind of tend to forget the history. And, I'm not really a historical person. But as time goes by, maybe I'm getting old. I'm really thankful of what I have. If Korea was not liberated from Japan, if Korea didn't have chance to develop, to evolve, I wouldn't be here in the first place, So a really interesting video that I found is that he's the really famous activist, protester in Korea. We call it 김구 선생님. We call it like Mr. Kim or like Professor Kim. And 1 year after liberating from Japan, he did the speech. He did the speech in front of the people. What he said was, today, August 15th, today is the day that Korea stepped forward to the world. All the world, each countries will be friend with Korea, will be connected with other country, other nation. Because Korea never had a chance. Korea never had a chance to talk to other people from different nation because we got colonized. After, we got liberated from Japan, we call it 대한 독립 만세. So that's how they did the cheer. It's actually amazing to see. That's what Liberation Day in Korea is, guys. We don't to let you guys again, we don't call it Independence Day because it's not Korea's first time to have our own country. But we would rather call it Liberation Day, that we finally restored our country, our culture. And because of, this history, we are able to, I'm able to be here and talk to you guys. Really thankful for, what happened in the past. Sometimes I imagine, what if I was born in like 1910? I don't think, I'm really happy that I was born in this era. So I'm really thankful for you guys to giving me this opportunity.